properly? Yes. Okay. Hi, everybody. Let me just get my presentation up and we'll begin. Right, there we go. So, as Mr. Nanan said, I will be attempting to give you some guidance on what we will be doing this afternoon. How I'm going to approach it is that I've broken it down into these steps for you. First, we're going to focus on the objectives that we want to achieve out of this afternoon's breakout sessions. We're going to go through the process that you'll be using and the tools that you'll be using during that process this afternoon. We'll go through what happens in your breakout sessions, how your groups will be divided, who your facilitators are. You'll realize that you have both stationary facilitators that are designed or assigned to stay with you throughout the entire breakout session, but you'll also have rotating facilitators who would be able to provide a little more in-depth experience and knowledge to you if you're having challenges with respect to coming up and analyzing some of the factors we'd like you to consider. And when you are finished, we would like each group to come up with a summary report, and you have templates for these. We will scan these, and each group will be required to present their group's conclusions. All right, so what you came up with, what you discussed, what were your main points during that breakout session. So moving on to our objectives. So these sessions are meant to facilitate open dialogue. So as Mr. Nanan said, great start to that open discussion, those questions. Keep them rolling, keep them coming throughout the afternoon. We want to be able to use the information from these breakout sessions to verify information that we collected from our initial survey instrument. As Mrs. Parashram said, we did find some conflicting information, some things that we would like to get a little more out of you all from, so this session can hopefully capture some of that. It would also be to create an accurate assessment of the status of the implementation of MARPOL Annex 6 within the region. Nobody knows the status of this implementation better than you. You are the ones on the ground, you are the one from your country who has understanding of what is going on and how it is happening. Another objective is to assess and prioritize the challenges preventing the implementation of MARPOL Annex 6 on a regional level, but we have to start at the national level. We have to understand what are those challenges at your national level and then sort of feed it up into sub-regional and regional priorities. Propose recommendations to mitigate the identified challenges. Again, nobody knows better what will work in your country than you. We hope to be able to take those and mesh them together so that we can create solutions sub-regionally and then regionally. We will select those recommendations which will have the greatest impact and the highest probability of occurrence. And we would also like these breakout sessions to inform the objectives for our sub-regional workshops. So when we come out to you, we want to know what further capacity building you need. How can we assist you going forward in achieving these objectives as well? The process that we're going to use this afternoon in your breakout sessions, it's 4 steps. So these are the 4 steps that you're seeing here. First of all, when you get into your breakout sessions this afternoon, we'd like you to divide yourselves within your little group on a national level. So each country will group together, so smaller groups within your assigned subgroup. And you would be doing a national SWOT analysis, right? Now, it's slightly different to SWOT analysis that you have done before. We'd actually like you to use pestle factors to do your SWOT analysis, right? And I'll get into that a little bit more when we consider the SWOT analysis process itself. This SWOT analysis should lead you those discussions should lead you into being able to determine your national priorities. I'm going to walk through a little more detail on that as well. From your national priorities, as Mrs. Parashar mentioned, we are going to look at those commonalities within the sub-region and try to come up as a cohesive group now with the sub-regional priorities. And after that, we'll be going into capturing those discussions, filling out that summary sheet, getting our points in order to come back and to present to the entire group. So the SWOT analysis using PESTLE factors. I am 95% sure that none of you have done a SWOT analysis like this before, right? So as I said, once you divide into the breakout sessions, which will be assigned by subgroup, you need to gather in your countries, within your countries, and start the SWOT analysis. This template you already have in your folders, if you'd like to refer to them, and it looks like this. Right, so this is the majority of your templates grouped together for your use this afternoon. And if you turn to pages 2 and 3, you will see the traditional SWOT analysis template, but you will see PESTLE listed there, right? So these factors we feel is important for us to consider within this exercise, because we are looking at this from our country's perspective. There will be factors, there will be political factors, economic factors, social, environmental, technological, and legal, which will either contribute to our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats when we consider our implementation of MARPOL Annex 6. So please, under each category, we'd like you to consider these factors. You turn to page 3 and you'll see we've titled it Strengths, and then we've listed PESTLE just as a reminder for you to consider those factors in your discussions. Right? Likewise for the other 3 quadrants of the SWOT analysis, if you turn the pages, you'll see similar templates. Right? These are just a little visual for you again. From that SWOT analysis, when you're complete, we'd like you to stay within those little groups as countries, and you will then pull out of your discussions, out of that SWOT analysis, and list out your national priorities. So you turn to page 7, and you see both sides, page 7 and 8, you have just a table where you can list out your national priorities. You can have as many national priorities as you'd like, but we want you to then rank those national priorities on a scale of 1 to 5. 1 being the highest priority. So this is the priority where you feel it is the most urgent, the most pressing, or it will have the greatest impact in allowing you to implement MARPOL Annex 6. Right? Level 5, if you score a priority as number 5, that's your lowest priority. Right? As I said, you can have as many priorities as you'd like. You can have more than 1 priority with a level 1 or level 2, and not limited in regards to that. So if you feel that there are 3 priorities that are very, very high on your scale, you can rank them all as level 1. After you have completed that national priorities list, then we'd like you to merge together as a sub-regional group and start discussing your national priorities to pull out the commonalities. Pull out those challenges within that sub-region that are common to you all. And we are then creating, on pages 9 and 10, the sub-regional priority list. Right, again, just the listing, and you again rank this within your sub-region and tell me 1 to 5, which is the highest priority as a sub-region, which is the lowest priority as a sub-region. You can have 3, again, 3 or more, 2 or more, priority, etc. Yeah? Are we all okay so far? Yeah? Okay. After your determination of sub-regional priorities, you would then be moving on to your summary sheets, which I'll get to in a little bit. But as Mrs. Parashram also touched on in her presentation, these are again the sub-regions and the divisions, how you'll be divided this afternoon. So sub-region 1 consists of Barbados, Guyana, Suriname, and the Maritime Services Division of Trinidad and Tobago. Those representatives who are here will be falling into sub-region 1. Your assigned facilitator will be Suzette. Suzette, you could just stand and let them see you, right? And she will be taking you to your assigned space. You don't have to worry about that. Sub-region 2 is the Eastern Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda, Grenada, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Unfortunately, our colleagues from Dominica weren't able to join us, but the rest of us will be composing the Eastern group or Sub-region 2, and I will be your assigned facilitator. Sub-region 3, which is Northern, we have Bahamas, Cuba, Dominican Republic, and Jamaica. Likewise, our colleagues from Belize and Haiti were not able to be with us, but the rest of us will represent. Michael Razak, Michael, you can just stand and let them have a look at you, will be your assigned facilitator. For Trinidad and Tobago, we briefly mentioned it before, so as not to confuse and overwhelm the discussions within the sub-region, we will be dividing the local stakeholders into 2 groups, and we would like a mix of public and private sector participants in those 2 groups. You will have Mr. Tevin Paris and Mr. Stefan Nanan as your facilitators, right? And I'm sure you are all familiar with both these gentlemen. So what we would do when we meet back from lunch, you would find your assigned facilitator, attach yourselves to them, and then they will take you to your assigned working space and you can begin your breakout session. At the completion of the breakout session, this presentation of the working group summary, you have a template. You don't have this in your folders, your facilitators will have these. Right, just to show you, this is what it looks like. It's very, very simple, and you will be provided with it this evening. However, as you get off into your workspaces, you need to nominate somebody or somebodies to present on your behalf, right? This can change, it can remain fluid, so it can change during your session. If you decide, somebody else may like to take up the opportunity instead, that's fine. But assign someone so that they can pay attention to recording the points that they need to present this afternoon. We will be scanning these summary sheets and putting it up here for you when you have to present. So just pay a little attention as well to the legibility of your forms, right? And what you need as reminders on your form in order to be able to present the discussions of your group. Right? I think that is about it, other than to say that each group will have 5 minutes to present on their group's summaries, right? So I'd like to thank you for your attention and invite you to ask any questions that you may have.